Hello, this is Lou from Game Code Plus. Today we're going to be doing the sprint demo, the first sprint demo for this project. This is for the HeroQuest Revived project. So let me bring up the application and their current state. Alright, so seeing as it's the end of the first sprint, there's obviously, we're at a really early version. We have only a few features that we can show so far. So we've been working directly in multiplayer to make sure that we get multiplayer first. Changing a multiplayer game into a single player game is much easier than doing the opposite. So we're going to go into multiplayer. I'm going to choose a LAN game, and I'm going to set my player name and host a game. And now this game is up and running on the LAN. So I have another machine off to the side here, and I'm going to join this game from the LAN, and there we go. And then on the other screen I will select ready, and I will also mark ready. We also have some chat communication across the network. So if I were to say something across the network and then respond from the other side, that communication is working now. So let's start this, and then what we get next, obviously we have a label that hasn't been updated yet. What we get next is the character select screen and the turn order selection. So chat still works down here. If you want to adjust the order of the play for the characters, that can be done up here. And then in here you actually, since I'm the host on this machine, I get to choose who gets to control which characters. So that would be this toggle button here. So if there were 4 characters, for example, or 4 players, you'd be able to toggle through all those players. And then you're only able to change the display name of the character for which that you control. So in this particular case, in order to show you everything possible, I'm just going to take control of all the characters and let the other machine just watch for this point. So all characters will play on this current screen that you're able to watch. And let us start the game. So for those of you that played HeroQuest before, you probably recognize this map, or you might recognize this map as the maze. It is a relatively simple map, especially in the early stages of this development. We have very minimal UI that we're putting in just for testing. So obviously this is really limited and quite honestly very ugly, but it gets the job done for our testing in our first phase. So at this point, the rolling system is in. We put in some event chat down here in the chat text box. Text box still works in game, so if I go on the other machine and type something in on the other machine, we can still send it across. So if you were to use this version across the LAN, you'd still be able to communicate with your friends. But at this point, so we've rolled 3. We get 3 movement. The character is able to follow our movement. Character always turns in the direction of movement. It's kind of a small tweak, but something that's nice to have. Can't really do much else at this point. The only features we've added so far for support are the ability to attack and the AI for the monsters to chase down the heroes when they're visible and to attack back. So let's try and get into that case at this point. This is a relatively minimal map, so I'm just going to play only the barbarians, and I know that there is an enemy nearby. So right now we went through all the character turns. There was no active enemies, so the enemy turn was skipped, and we're back at the barbarian. Since this is a demo, I'm sure I'm going to get extremely low rolls for the majority of this test, but we'll go ahead with it. So once you're within a cell of the door, you can open it. Visibilities. So we're doing full 3D visibility, so we're doing raycasting for the entire view of the character. That's a little bit different than most people when they run this as a dungeon master. A lot of times people will give a little bit of benefit of the doubt where if you're standing here you can see the whole room, but we're actually doing raycasting, so if there was someone here you wouldn't be able to see them yet. It's not particularly prohibited by the rules of the game, but depending on how you view things, we may or may not change that one. We'll see how we like it when we get through it. So I'm going to continue walking through. I'm going to roll through all the turns, go back to the barbarian, going to roll his movement. And in this next room, we're going to make an enemy appear. Now I could go into that cell and attack him, but just in order to prove the enemy AI and pathfinding, I'm going to try and run away a little bit, and some of the other character turns, Now the enemy's going to find out where the closest hero is, see if he can get to him, if he can make an attack. And he did attack the barbarian. He rolled his 2 attack dice, got 2 skulls, giving him 2 damage. Barbarian rolled his 2 defense dice, also 2 skulls. That's pretty terrible. And he took 2 damage. So at this point, being the barbarian's turn, we could attack back, and we defeated the orc. So we rolled 3 attack dice, got 2 damage, and he got 1 defense, took 1 damage and died, which I don't remember if that's correct for the orc, but that's what we have for the settings right now for test. So yeah, that's about where we're at so far with the game. There's obviously a lot left to do. The UI needs a lot of work. Cast spells, treasures, traps, secret doors, additional maps. A lot to do, but pretty happy with where we've gotten to the end of the first sprint. So I hope everybody's excited. Feel free to follow us on GameCodePlus.com, and we'll continue posting our updates on YouTube as much as we can. Thank you very much.